In this lesson video, it will be yet another follow-along session for one of the 5 elements, this time being Beng Quan. The version of Beng Quan in this follow-along video will be the Banbu Beng Quan, or the half-step crushing fist. If you are unfamiliar with the technical specifications, requirements and methods for this Beng Quan, please firstly refer to the 10-minute primer on Beng Quan and then the subsequent Beng Quan lesson videos that have already been released. This video I'm not going to cover specifics and technicalities, but rather go through a follow-along session. I'll give you some tips here and there, but in general it's not going to be technical heavy because it's mostly focused on giving you a follow-along and an outline with which you can practice your Beng Quan or your other elements, in line with the other elements. So it's going to follow the same format as the previously released follow-along videos. That being, there will be 3 versions of the element executed. The first one being soft and flowing in a staccato manner. The second one being staccato still, but issuing force at the required points. And the third will be a combination of these, which is flowing and issuing force. So trying to put the whole thing together. Of course, dependent on your space and your desire for a training session, how many lines you feel like doing is up to you, and also the length of space that you have would also determine whether you're going to do 1 line or 2 lines, etc. But here I will do an amount that is suitable to this space, but you may also just follow along with this video. So with that, we will begin with the basic Beng Quan follow along training video, and this time it will be Banbu Beng Quan, half-step crushing fist. So starting from the edge or the periphery of where you're going to do the line drill, we will just begin. So the first line is always just about setting the track. So trying to remain clear with the specifications, the technical requirements, where your hands, your upper body orientation, the lines that your fists are traveling, the target point, etc. That's the goal of the first line. That's why it's done slowly, just to set the track. Slowly, staccato, and without issuing force. Now the second one, we're going to be doing a very similar thing, but we're going to be focusing on issuing force. I just did 1 line of the first one. Again, up to you if you want to repeat, do more than 1 line, etc. Now we'll do the second line. Right, once again, beginning from the periphery. So the core point about issuing force is not only to focus on the specific points in the technique where you should be focusing force, but it's also about focusing intent. So you can see here it's a physical manifestation of the various ideas and concepts, intent-wise, that have been touched upon in the explanation videos for Beng Quan. For example, when I step out, I'm trying to grip the floor with the front foot. So while I'm stopping here, I'm thinking about this front foot gripping the floor quite tightly. The front arm is pushing forward slightly while the back arm pulls back. So this is that idea about drawing a bow. And you focus on it intently here. From here, I'm going to step forward and punch. Same idea. So that expansion, that drawing of the bow, and then the loosing of the bow happens as I pull this front foot forward. This pulling of the front foot forward has that intention and that idea that your foot is restrained or constrained. I have mentioned this before, but one of my teacher's analogies is that you've got a rope bound around your ankle and it's being restrained. So maybe there's something heavy tied to it, maybe somebody's pulling on it, whatever the case is. Your intent is either to move that thing or break the rope. So from here, once you've got all of this intention here, now we're going to focus on this as we punch. And you can see the body mechanics naturally start to follow correctly when you manifest the correct intent. So the second version is focused on the requirements plus adding a lot of that intent that we've spoken about. All right, now the third version is to try do it in a continuous flowing motion. The third version, because it's in continuous flowing motion, it's more difficult to maintain all the differing points of intent and focus because you have less time between each repetition. So it really does take time to develop the correct and full intent throughout the technique. So that's why it's advisable as you're developing to do it in these three fashions, because the one allows you to fully manifest and focus on that intent. The third version, you might miss some of it. You might lack certain parts of intent as you go through it in a flowing manner. But as you continually do this over time, it will improve. So now we will do the third version, which is going to be a little bit more flowing and with force exerted. Again, I did 2 lines on the last one. It's up to you if you want to do 1, 2, or even more. So you can use this video as a basic framework for how you can practice your element, and you can follow this along. Put it on, follow along. If you need some motivation, if you need something to follow, something to get you going, this can help.